Against this right back, Charlie, definitely. Against this right back, Charlie, definitely.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man. Come on. People deluded, I'm back again. Big up you lot for being tuned in. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and in some cases, good night. Now it's a big week for Arsenal. Starting today, we're playing against Atalanta. I believe we kick off at 8 p.m. So make sure you join me at 7 p.m. UK time to begin our watch along. And while it's in the backdrop and we can't get away from it, we all know on Sunday we will be doing a watch along because it's Manchester City against Arsenal. We haven't lost in this calendar year 2024 away from home. Manchester City's record at their place, the Etihad, in all competitions is phenomenal. So it's a big week for us. We all know Martin Odegaard's injured. We all know whether players have just returned from injury or currently out. You know, our squad isn't in the best of health. We've got health. We've got a tough test against Atalanta. Don't forget to smash the like button, comment, and subscribe. We're going to go over Mikel Arteta's press conference. Apparently, he's given an interview with Sky Sports, so we'll look at that. We'll obviously look at the news surrounding Gabriel, Saliba, and anything else that we see currently, people. So, yeah, big up yourselves. Apologies for any technical difficulties. Top of the morning, right back at you, Derek. You know who should play the Odegaard role? The bloke we signed to replace either Emil Smith-Rowe Vieira. Only we didn't, and now we are trying to solve a problem, entirely predictable problem. 3 out of 10 window at best. I mean, the depth is being tested. When everyone's fit, if everybody's fit, like some Arsenal fans say, of course we've got strong depth, but I don't like this when and if business. Injuries are not something exclusive to Arsenal. Yes, last season we had injuries, but we had a clear run. Other than that, we saw towards the end of the first season we was fighting for the league, Saliba got injured. This year we've got injuries. We've got more games with less players. I hear you in the circle, but I'm at the point now we have to just get on with it, man. Like I've said before, there's plenty of excuses or sympathies I could have with Edu or Mikel Arteta. Any consequence of us not acting in the market and having adequate squad depth and any holes and chinks in the armor, I don't have any sympathy for Mikel Arteta because you're a smart man. I praise you for how you're, collectively and individually improving this squad and building this squad. So if a couple of injuries and suddenly we're out of place, there's issues. Now, granted, I believe even if those players were fit, and we played the lineup we did against Spurs, there's more than enough to win. We could have started Ethan. Spurs are not good. Against Manchester City, who knows? And if I really scrutinize how we played against Spurs, which for me, it's a professional performance. We did low blocks, difficult to break down. I wouldn't even say Spurs huffed and puffs, but they quote unquote huffed and puffs. We got the 3 points. Now, any consequence of not being able to get a result against City, then we've signed up for this again. We all know there's more games in the Champions League. Normally it's temporarily done by December. We're going to be playing in January, the FA Cup, the League Cup, the Premier League. The games are coming thick and fast. And I must admit, in the summer, I wanted a striker, wanted an inside forward. I defo wanted another central midfielder, even though I didn't think 2 centre midfielders would be realistic. Was happy with Calafiori at left backs edition. But I do think a lot of us, when we broke it down, an Odegaard replacement, if not necessarily for quality. Odegaard's a great player, fantastic in the tight space. He's a wonder of a left foot. In terms of what his task individually is in the team, we've lost a lot. We've lost an arm in our defensive quarters as well, with Odegaard being injured. So we have to find solutions, whether that's Gabriel Jesus, Trossard, Kai Havertz, I'm not really for it, but Raheem Sterling in the 10, young Ethan, getting away from that 10 or 8.5 and playing just 3 organic central midfielders, whether that's Jorginho, Kai Havertz dropping in there, Thomas Partey and Declan Rice. They're going to have to get on with it, man. They're really going to have to get on with it. So, Pete, not at all surprised. This is exactly the situation we asked about. What if XYZ? 5 freaking years and we still have an inadequate squad. Ethan is not the answer, no matter how talented he is. I mean, you're never going to know until you blood the guy. I do think he's ready for more first team football, but I do think, and young players are never going to be ready, but it's unfair because he has to be given the scope to make mistakes. He's still developing, obviously physically in terms of, puberty and whatnot. He's 17. To ask him, for instance, to start 2 games and play 90 minutes against Atalanta and Manchester City, in which are 2 baptisms of fire, if he were to start them, he'd be in trouble. I have no doubts about him technically. It's just naturally tactically, if he's trusted by Mikel Arteta to go out there and put and do what Arteta demands of you. So yeah, man, really and truly, I think he's good enough. And I think you have to utilize the squads, whether they're as young as Ethan or as old as Partey. The squad has to be utilized. We don't have many bodies, and you would expect Ethan, I hope Lewis Skelly, to get some minutes here and there, man. It is what it is in that regard. It's not just a depth problem. We literally do not have a round peg to go in the Odegaard role. Yes, no sympathy at all for Teta. They need severe criticism. They're gonna have to get on with it. If we come out of this period and we get results and we're winning games, and the players that come back from injuries, to quote Arsene Wenger, they're like new signings. Apologies, people. Let me close my window because although it's hot, there's builders next door working and it's putting me off. But yeah, they'll get their praise for that. But it's almost like we love to play with fire, and I was happy with the individual additions we had in the summer. Of course, I love Mikel Merino and what he could give to Arsenal, and I'm interested to see what he brings to the table. I think Calafiori's obviously been good. Who else did we sign? Sterling. It's not a long-term signing, but it's better than no one. But did we really equip ourselves to go and really fight for this league title? Are we necessarily stronger than we was last season? I don't know. It feels like we took 10 steps forward and then took them same 10 steps backwards. So we're ultimately in the same place. There's reasons to be optimistic with the additions, with what we've done in the last 2 years, with our players having more hunger and desire. And we can play multiple ways. We can play a mid block, a low block. We can press from the front. We've shown that on occasion, injuries or not, we can get away with things and get a result. Now, if I look at reasons to not be optimistic, obviously, I don't think we've brought in any ceiling raisers. Calafiori and Moreno might show that in time to come. But at this moment in time, there has not been that. We've got less bodies. And again, yes, we got 91 Premier League goals, but why didn't we get a striker or another inside forward? And even with Raheem Sterling, it's a short-term fix. Edu said that, that wasn't something we planned to do. So clearly the summer window didn't go to plan. Obviously, there's a positive net spend. They got a lot of decent fees for players that have left. I'm sure, Mikel Merino, Calafiori, they're going to bring something. You hope Sterling is one of the signings of the season, but it's a mixed bag ultimately. And I guess only time will tell, man. Why isn't this comment coming up? Big up yourself, S. Ethan should continue to be subbed on for good game time before we risk letting him take over the Odegaard role head on. Before then, I'd keep Trossard in that role. For me, I think definitely looking at Manchester City, and obviously today, I think it's a Trossard thing. But then I look at it, there's not really a long-term solution. Now, best case scenario, you hope to have Odegaard back before the end of the year, and it's not a criticism of Trossard. Is Trossard the fix from now until Odegaard's back and able to play again? Is Gabriel Jesus, Raheem Sterling, Ethan, even getting rid of that Odegaard role and playing like a flat midfield three? I'm not sure. These are things Mikel Arteta is going to have to work out, because they had to have sat there in August or July and said, you know what, if this guy gets injured, that guy gets injured, that guy gets injured. Of course, they couldn't predict the scale of injuries we're currently facing, but you kind of have to. If worse comes to worse, and this is what we've got available to us, do we have enough? And I have to assume this is what you felt was enough. Now, I don't work for Arsenal, neither do you lot. Maybe Edu and Mikel Arteta tried to bring midfielders in or tried to address other areas, but ultimately you didn't get the job done. If we try to win a football game, one love for that, but if you don't win it, there has to be criticisms. The first 11 will have to play far too many minutes again for the 3rd year in a row. It is unsustainable. I mean, I agree with you, because Mikel Arteta, I can't remember when, but he alludes to us having a small squad, us not being sustainable, as you said, when he was speaking about Saliba, Gabriel and Benjamin White. It would be nice if we had that same defensive depth, which is ironically being tested now. We've got a number of injuries there in midfield, and I do think we've got bodies up front. I think up front, or the front 3 positions. Wait, front 3? Yeah, the front three positions, all four, if you want to include Odegaard. I think it's a case of quality because we do have Trossard, Jesus, Trossard, Jesus, Kai Havertz at the moment, Bukayo Saka. I'm definitely Raheem Sterling. I'm probably missing someone else out. Ethan can play up there as well, but yeah, it would have been lovely if we got Isaac and Nico Williams or Gyökeres, but that's all dream chasing. And again, I'm getting tired of speaking about the transfer window, not because I don't want to speak about it. It's gone now, isn't it? January's a long time away. Not in life terms, the year's almost done. There's give or take 3 months of the year left of 2024. But January in football in terms is a long way away. We can waffle about signings. I hope Edu is, getting deals done in the background, but that's irrelevant to now. The games we've got from now until the end of the year, this is the squad we have available. You're praying that there's no other injuries. You're praying there's no suspensions, but this is what we signed up for. We played with fire and we haven't been burnt, but we have been burnt to a degree. We haven't been quite burnt, but it's getting hot in the kitchen, if that makes sense, people. So, yeah, keep your thoughts coming. Keep your talking points coming. What's YouTube saying here? Not quite sure on that alert that YouTube said there, but nonetheless, one love, YouTube. Smash the like button if you haven't, people. And, yeah, let's see what's going on in the news, people. Apparently, Mikel Arteta exclusive. Arsenal. Why is it not? Let me start again because it's not changing. Here we go. Mikel Arteta exclusive. Arsenal boss says his side are on the right path to trophies, which I do agree. We're flirting with success, but it's a lot of foreplay. It's a lot. It's like, you're engaging in foreplay. You put the condom on. Are we going to penetrate and actually do something at this moment in time, man? Deluded. Pay attention to the details on the market. Summer signings and not available quality players. I hear that. And I do agree with that, especially where you look at the strikers. I don't want anybody signed for no reason. But is that an excuse, really and truly? Is that an excuse to us casual fans? Of course. But you've been able to source players. Again, we say there's a lack of quality. You found Calafiori, you found Moreno, you found Timber. You tried to go for Nico Williams. You tried to go for Sesko. And we know our club go for one target, but you had to have had multiple. I think that's lazy, if I'm honest with you. You've got all the scouts, it's well known that there's a scouting team that's assessing several targets. You've got all the scouts and the resources available. You can find players. There's thousands of players. Of course, I can't sit here and say there's a million Nico Williams, but that's not my job. There's 1,000 players, literally, and they've all got to start somewhere. Half the players that we waffle about signing, Gyökeres, Isaac, Sesko, Nico Williams, we haven't just woke up and saw them. I think that's a lazy excuse, personally. I do agree in the sense of I don't want signings for the signing's sake, but that's nonsense, if I'm honest. Lack of quality players. You really believe that? So that's what led to us getting Raheem Sterling, which I'm not criticizing Raheem Sterling. That shows, for me, I think it's a degree of incompetence, and I think that's copium, if I'm honest with you. But nonetheless, Mikel Arteta insists Arsenal are on the right path to make. And again, are we Manchester City? Are we Real Madrid? If we were them teams there with them quality players, then yeah, there's not really many players that could improve our squad. As I said live, I agree with you somewhat, but we're not treble winners. We're not multiple Premier League winners. Our players are quality, but are they that amazing that there's not a decent amount? Now, granted, I'm not on signing players for no reason. But yeah, I think the truth is in the middle. I don't buy the excuse that there wasn't enough players out there for us to source. We've been scouting for years. We've known for a while now, actually, as we've become title challengers, central midfield, a versatile attacker and a striker, is it? But then I'm on the other side. I don't just want signings for the sake of it. I think the truth's in the middle. Allegedly, though, Mikel Arteta insists Arsenal are on the right path to major honours as they prepare for the start of their Champions League campaign and a huge Premier League showdown with champions Manchester City. It's a big week, man. Arsenal are still searching for their first Champions League success, which is... It kills me to say that, man. I saw a stat today that we've actually played the most European games in the Champions League without winning it. That needs to change. Arsenal are still searching for a first Champions League success while they wait for a Premier League title stretches back to 03-04. Let's stick to exactly what Mikel Arteta is saying, because that's starting to break my heart. There is a huge alignment at the club. I agree. First, emotionally, because there's a big attachment at the football club from the people that are running it. Secondly, we are all still highly motivated and emotional about what is coming next. The focus is firmly on how we can continue to be better, continue to improve, and try to deliver what a lot of our supporters are waiting for. I agree. I think we're on the right path. But then to deliver those trophies, that's the direction that we are taking. I think we're on the right one. But then to deliver those trophies, there are small margins, a lot of details, and being in the right place at the right moment. And we have to be there. We are there, and hopefully there will be coming. I hope so. Mikel Arteta. Let's see exactly what else he said. In my job today, maybe tomorrow, that is the future, and That is the thing realistic about it. We obviously have a lot of plans and a lot of things we are continuing to try and to do to develop and improve. But the reality is, let's take care of what is doable today and what we can make better to impact the team and the club. Then let's look at tomorrow and see how this looks. Let's take it step by step. The only thing I can promise is that every single day I'll give my best and keep developing to try to improve myself, to be surrounded by people better than me that are challenging and inspiring me every single day. And hopefully that will bring good success. Big him up, man. Being a manager is extremely fulfilling, he said. At the start of my managerial career, I would have said there's nothing else like playing, but now I'm not sure about that. I don't know. I think being a manager has its highs and lows, man. It must be stressful. I'm surprised you still got a full set of hair, if I'm completely honest with you, Mikel Arteta. There are days being a manager is much better, especially because when you see people feeling part of something and the importance of something and bring smiles and joy and enjoy what we're doing every single day and following your vision and what you're trying to do with them is extremely fulfilling. I'm grateful for that because you can improve the lives of a lot of people, not only football players, and that is part of it. On Raheem Sterling, apparently he said, I would describe him as a very thoughtful, very mature, very demanding with himself and someone who loves to play football. Give him a ball, give him minutes and he'll deliver. That's encouraging for me to hear, man. I like the fact of that. What about Salah, an academy player? Looks good in pre-season. Give him a chance in the side or have him on the bench. Albert, you've got to give chances. For me, I'm genuinely surprised. Him, Kyle Edwards, Nathan Butler, Oladeji, who's I think's travelled with the first team today. I'm surprised they're still at the club. I would have, if I was them, I don't know everything, but I don't think under 21s football and the occasional call up is going to get them to the next level. I think they either need to push to leave permanently and play somewhere where they're going to make movements in the professional game or go out on loan, man. So they got the best hairline in management. Elise moved. We were never going to sign Elise with Saka. But again, you look at, and I'm not saying to sign these players, but Bruno Gomares, Isaac, Onana. I'm not saying these are the guys. Gyökeres, Eze. There's talent out there. Pedro Neto. Again, we can't behave like there's no players out there. And half of the players that we've signed, who's really been a blockbuster signing at the point of entry into this club? Some have been household names. Declan Rice, 100 million, fair enough. Kai Havertz, no one would have paid 65 million, let alone know how he would improve us or do what he's doing at the moment. The club did. You got Kai Havertz. At a point, you had Ramsdale. You brought in David Raya. You've got Benjamin White, who, off the back of one Premier League season. Gabriel's improved. You got Saliba when he was young. Obviously, that was different regime. So Trossard was a good market opportunity. Jorginho, the same. Identified Partey. So we can't look for excuses on the market, man. I do think that looking back in hindsight, I think it was about clearing ranks. I do think it was about improving the 11 and subsequently getting more players that Arteta trusts. And I do think it was about clearing the books and getting a positive bank balance. I feel the club tried to go for these blockbuster signings, but I don't think it was ever going to be the summer in hindsight that us fans suspected, if I'm honest with you. Elise moved. Gyökeres and Eze both had release clauses, and there were plenty others. Osimhen went Turkey. I like Osimhen, but I think Osimhen's incredibly overrated. You look at how many times has he scored 20 plus goals? How many games has he actually played? You throw into that, his wages, agent commission, transfer fee. The Osimhen thing is what it is. Gyökeres, amazing signing. If Chelsea couldn't agree a deal for Osimhen, what makes you think Arsenal could get a deal over the line? I didn't say anything. I think Arsenal in a weird position midfield-wise. It's hard to sell Odegaard. Always play so the player wouldn't play. Plus, you don't want to block Ethan's path. I don't think Ethan's path's going to be blocked. And not sure you mean about selling Odegaard because there's no reality to sell Odegaard. I just think we need genuine long-term options behind Martin Odegaard. You've got Declan Rice. You've got Mikel Moreno now. In the next year or so, maybe you bring a centre midfielder in January and then one in the summer or two. But I don't know if Thomas Partey and Jorginho will both stay, both leave, or one of the two. I think, if anything, Jorginho will be more likely to stay at the club beyond this summer than Thomas Partey, if I'm completely honest with you. It's very simple. I spoke to Edu and he told me about the possibility that it was real and that it could happen. He asked me what my thoughts were, and obviously I was already extremely positive. I had a question and I thought it'd be resolved in the first 15 to 20 seconds of my conversation on the phone with Raheem. It got resolved a little earlier than that because I took the phone and he said he was dreaming of this call. That was it. We discussed a few other things, but when I see a player that is genuinely willing to come to the club, prove a point and be part of something that he has seen from the outside that is motivating and inspiring him, I said he needs to be here, and I hope Sterling can do his thing. Arteta also said creating the best environment and context for him. He's got a year because of the people, the teammates, and the dynamics of the group we have. I think he's seen the reaction of the teammates and our supporters straight away. That's something very positive. Now we have to try to help him when he gets the chance to play, when we are training with him to keep developing and giving him the opportunities where he can fulfill his talent. Just saying the nonsense comment there wasn't enough quality on the market was rubbish. We just didn't get any deals done. I hear it. I think it's a cop out as well. I'm going to be honest with you. In terms of the status on our players that aren't fit people, we're going to go over Mikel Arteta's press conference. Do make sure you're smashing the like button. Arteta said after everything was scanned in relation to Odegaard, they showed there was some damage, especially in one of the ligaments in the ankle. So we're going to miss him. I don't want to put a time frame on it because I'm not a doctor, but it's something quite significant. So we're going to lose him for a while. Hopefully not months, but let's see. He's our captain. He's one of our biggest players. He's been one of our most consistent players in the last 2 or 3 seasons. Our identity is very related to his way of playing and his way of behaving, which again makes me think, Arteta, you're going to need to find a solution sooner rather than later on that. We're going to have to deal with that, and that's a great test for the team as well, how capable we are to show maybe a different face. The fact is we have other players and other options that can be very effective, which again is what I want to hear. Find solutions. As much as I'm upset about Martin Odegaard being out, we got football to play. I'm not one of these fans that's screaming, pack up this season, right off the season already. This might be something we look back in hindsight and say played its own little part as to why we didn't win silverware. But right now, we're in the thick of it. Keep it going, man, really and truly. He's a lot more upbeat on Ricardo Calafiori and Bukayo Saka, who both of them, as you would have seen, have travelled. Bukayo was able to train today. He completed most of the sessions, so he's available. Ricardo was able to train today, so he will be available. He's in the squad, and that's great news because we all know he's been quite short in the past few weeks, which is a bit of an eye-opener because it seems maybe he would have started and, you know, got some starts that Timber would have got. And even with Timber, like his first 90 minutes post-ACL, I'm sure he's over all of that, but he's coming off a big ACL injury. Obviously, he had a bit of a disrupted pre-season around the Emirates. So we need to even manage Timber. Well, Timber starts for me today, and he's probably one of the first names on the team sheet against City. And I'm very happy to have Calafiori and Timber. You know, if and when Tomiyasu's fit, I think we've got some solid defensive options, you know, and that's without talking about the Salibas, the Gabriels, the Benjamin Whites. According to the game state, Zinchenko, you do have Kivior, and he's injured, but at least until January, Tini is something that could be utilized in some capacity. Just a shame we can't say that in central midfield and in further positions. Now, the Norway boss has been speaking about Odegaard. You know, some say 3 weeks, some say 4 weeks, some say 5 weeks, some say 6 weeks. Some people as optimistic as early October and as pessimistic as January. Truthfully, nobody knows. I do think internally at the club, they do have a rough idea as to how long Odegaard's going to be out for. At the same time, though, you do need to, you know, the more the swelling goes down, the better we can kind of get a diagnosis for Odegaard. You know, we just hope that he's able to come back and not see any lasting effects of this, really. So it is what it is. Apparently, the Norway manager has told Norwegian outlet NRK, we are preparing with a plan with Martin and one without. I don't want to see Odegaard. Even if Odegaard is fit by the next international break, you need to sit that one out, really and truly. So, I mean, yeah, naturally, you're going to have a plan for if he's there or not there. And again, it's scary. I mean, we're going to have to get on with it. But should Odegaard, you know, be out for as long as they say in the media, then he's out till mid-November. That means he's out of the Atalanta game, the City game, the Porto game, the Leicester game, PSG, Southampton, Bournemouth, Shakhtar, Liverpool, off, Newcastle away, Inter away, and Chelsea away. We're going to have to get on with it, man. What are the chances the one midfielder we did sign gets injured the first training session? You can't make it up. You can't, but injuries can strike to anyone at any time in any context. We've seen players, maybe not so much at our club, but get injured making a sandwich. You've seen players get injured on the training ground. You've seen players injured on a football pitch. Injuries to football players are like chefs cutting their hands. It comes with it. It comes with it, really and truly. Let's see exactly what Mikel Arteta has had to say on whether it's strange playing a Champions League game on a Thursday. And I've said this yesterday, and I don't know how you lot feel, but in the Premier League, I'm a lot more confident in Arsenal away from home than at the Emirates. That's not to say I'm scared at the Emirates. It's just for me, we're more prone to mistakes or them kind of nail-biting games. Away from home, we more handle business, if that makes sense. In the Champions League, I'm not saying we can beat anybody, but I'm a lot more, or in Europe, I'm a lot more optimistic if we're playing at the Emirates. Like, I'm very confident about a good showing against PSG. I'm kind of wary about today against Atalanta and Inter Milan at the San Siro. I don't need to tell you, look, that's a difficult test, really. So it'd be interesting. You know, we've got to go to Italy twice. Obviously, we've got to go to Portugal. The last 2 times in the last recent years that we've gone to Portugal, it hasn't ended well. Hopefully, we can put that right. Definitely not wrong. It's different, but here we are playing in the Champions League on a Thursday night. It's different, but we're really happy, motivated, and enthusiastic for the first game. It's a really tough place to come. They built something amazing here, and it was a beautiful story when they what they achieved last season, winning the Europa League. But for us, it's a new season and we really want to kick on in the right way. On whether it's a disadvantage ahead of City, well, yeah, because we've got 24 less hours. We've had to travel. They're playing at their place. But this is what comes with this thing, if this makes sense. Like, it's going to happen to everybody. Hopefully not. We have so much energy from what happened on Sunday. It was great. We have recovered a few players, which is very important for us as well. And we're playing in a competition that we absolutely love. So we're looking at the positives. We've gone over Martin Odegaard and Calafiori. Asked on rotation ahead of Manchester City. No, we are in September, so we have to put players that we believe are the best to win. That's the most important thing, and only for us, which I agree. I'm not for rotation's sake. I understand it. You want to wrap people in cotton wool, but we need to get victories. On why we've been so successful in away matches this year, because if we want to be at the level that we want to be, we have to be really good on the road and at home. We have no choice. So we have to continue to be that consistent to get the results as well as the performances that are going to get us the results. In Europe, it's extremely tough to win as it is in the Premier League. Hopefully we can be more effective than we were last season, especially in this competition. Small margins define results and we have to be really good at it. On the differences between domestic and European away games, there's a lot of differences. The atmosphere, the culture, probably the pitch size, the stadium. I would say European teams don't really mark us in the same vein that other people do. So there is a lot of changes and a lot of differences. But he said, obviously, you don't know the opponents as well. And then the boxes become more crucial. So that just tells me you need to defend better and you need to take the chances in the final third. At this level, the small details and moments define the story of the competition and the game. The Premier League is a bit different. In Europe, the teams are ruthless and you better be at your best and be very effective. Even when you scrutinize last season's Champions League performances, people, obviously there's context and reasons behind it. But you look at our performance at the Emirates against Porto versus away from home. You look at Bayern Munich at the Emirates versus Germany. We did win the game, but you look at Sevilla at their place. We won, but it was a difficult test. Lens, we lost. Oh, at the Emirates, it was more or less perfect to a slight degree, really. So this is still a new breeding ground for the manager and a lot of the players. So they really need to draw on their past experiences. And to be honest with you, I know a couple of these players were there, but this is where you're looking at, you know, Mikel Moreno with Champions League experience when fit. Declan Rice, obviously not really Champions League experience, but you've played in Europe for West Ham. Jorginho, Trossard, now Raheem Sterling, Zinchenko, Gabriel Jesus, and anybody else that fits that remit that I've missed out there, people. We've gone over Martin Odegaard already. On what the team have learned from last season's experience in the Champions League, I hope so. That's the aim. It was a great campaign for us. I wouldn't say great. It was okay. We gave a positive account of ourselves, but the word great for me would be winning it, or at least a final. We got to a place that we hadn't been as a club for 16 or 18 years. We weren't happy or satisfied at all because we want more. They showed their hunger. I think we have the ability. We certainly have the quality, and now we have to prove it. On if last season's experiences have changed the manager's thinking and how the team will approach playing in Europe, it must do to a degree. I don't know if it's going to change. It depends on the opponent and the moment we are in. We learned certain lessons and certain aspects we can do better. It's as well being conscious that these are top elite clubs in Europe and they know how to play and how to compete in games. Hopefully we have learned lessons and we show the composure, the determination and the belief that is very important at these stages. Tomorrow we know what we're going to be facing and it's going to be tough, but the team is ready and prepared. And then he said, I think the reason we changed the format was for all the football fans and all the people that love sport, a better product, more entertaining. Now we have to deliver, especially the players have to deliver. Let's see how it goes. Don't know if it was because of that, Gaffer, but yeah, on the start to the season, yeah, but I think this team has always reacted that way. The fact was we weren't satisfied. We wanted more and we knew we could be there. We had the level. We lost a few things on the way and didn't allow us to be there. When you see a new opportunity, that's the beautiful thing about sport. We've gone over Bukayo Saka, people. On when Mikel noticed the upturn in our away form, I noticed game by game that the team is able to compete, to perform and actually get a result in very, very difficult stadiums in a really consistent way and winning matches in different ways, which I think is really important. You want to be consistent with the way we play away from home. Now we have to put those learnings into the Champions League and show tomorrow that we can keep hold of doing that. Fair play. On Atalanta's playing style, and again, everyone's allowed an opinion, but I think you're smoking something very special if you want us to. Some people are saying we can afford to lose this. We can have mass rotation. It's our first Champions League game. Arteta just said, forget rotation. These are Europa League winners. Gasperini is a household name. Atalanta are a bloody good footballing club. You will learn a hard lesson. Even when we've had everybody fit and had our strongest team, we haven't been at our fluid best. So if you imagine like some fans want 5, 6, 7 changes, what's going to happen? I don't know, but it's crazy. The club has an amazing story, and what Gasperini has done is amazing. I have a big admiration, apologies, for what he's done in his career, not only for Atalanta, but for other clubs. He's a very important figure, and what they achieved last season was incredible, and we'll see how tomorrow goes. Then he said, on facing Gasperini with City, it's very difficult to play against them. They have a particular playing style, which you see week in, week out. It's very challenging for opponents coming up against them. In the last 2 seasons, the Premier League has changed a lot. You've got a lot of squads that are doing similar things to them, and we need to be prepared ahead of tomorrow. On what sort of Atalanta team we'll face, I spoke with Ricardo and Giorgi, as they know the team very well. They know the players, and it's always very important information to get hold of. They played in some great games against this squad during the last few seasons, and they've done very well. It just shows you can learn off everyone. Jorginho spoke ahead of the game as well. He said, we've been trying to improve every single day. We need to take the lessons that we got last season. It's the first game, so still a long way to go. We need to be ready because definitely going to be a tough game to start. I've been very impressed with how Atalanta have played the last few years, training together under the same roof and working towards the same goal. They deserve to be where they are, and I'm happy for how they've grown as a club, and their story is great for Italian football. Matteo Rettigu, I can't pronounce his name, is a very strong player, especially in the air. He's got an eye for goal. We should be very wary of the way he plays. He's growing. He's always getting better. He's a down-to-earth player. I hope everything goes well for him, maybe not on the night. It's no coincidence the results are coming. We need to stay on the pitch. He then said it's a bit different and something we need to learn. We are trying to work together to get to know the competition a bit more. We're getting better every single day. Everyone is really excited to play in this game and try to win. The hunger to win, sticking together, trying to help each other, all the work that we put together behind the scenes from the staff helps the players on the pitch. That's the key. The spirit of the group, the energy, the atmosphere in the change room and the training ground is absolutely incredible. Every day we're happy to be at the training ground. We enjoy being there. It's really important for what we do. It's no coincidence the results are coming. We just need to stay on this path. Fair enough. He then said on Ethan, he's a young lad who's growing a lot and improving every single day. A talented player with good skills who can dribble, break the lines, find the goal and find the pass. I think he can have a really good future in front of him if he stays the way he's been training and tries to improve every day. Like every single young kid, they're quiet at the moment, but over time, he's going to get experience and come out of his shell. It's just about timing. The only thing to focus on is improving every single day, and I'm sure that he can. Big praise from an experienced individual like Jorginho, people, for Ethan. So, yeah, just got to keep your foot on the ground, not get too excited, and you will improve and get opportunities, people. I'm moving away from that. I was just reading this. This was about our away form, which is quite irrelevant, people. At the moment, Atalanta find themselves 9th in the table, people. So they're going to be an interesting outfit, man. You can't read too much into the table at this moment in time. Arsenal open talks over Gabriel deal. Arsenal have open contract negotiations with Gabriel Magalhaes, sources have told Football Insider. Discussions between the two parties are in the early stages at the moment, and nothing concrete has taken place so far. The Gunners want to keep their stars at the club, and the 26-year-old is considered one of those, but there's nothing imminent at the moment in terms of a resolution to discuss this to discussions. We all know he's been great since he's joined since 2020, and he's made 172 appearances. So what is it fair to say this season he'll get 200? And he is contracted until 2027, so it's more of a contract to reward his improvements, if I'm honest with you. William Saliba's spoken, people, and out of context it could panic, but it is a reason as to why we need to start winning major trophies. In relation to him, he said, I've been on the right track for the past 2 seasons, especially last season. I'm perhaps on my way to becoming the best defender in the world. I think I'm one of the best at the moment. But to say that, I have to win some titles. I think that is what I'm missing right now. If you win titles, you are good. And if you don't, you can't say you're the best. That's what I believe. I am one of the best in the world. Fair enough for him. Fair enough, Saliba, man. Very mature words. Tomiyasu is still linked with a move away from Arsenal Football Club. You know, he hasn't kicked a ball. Inter Milan, Napoli and Juventus allegedly are all tracking the Japanese ace, who is thought to be open-minded to the idea of a move back to Italy. Apparently, Arsenal are expected to demand at least 25 million for the utility man, who is a favourite among supporters at the Emirates. Currently slipped down the pecking order, probably primarily owing to injuries. Again, 83 times since we've signed him. That is because of these injuries and the fitness. And I do think it is becoming frustrating, really, where Tomiyasu is concerned. Cesc Fabregas has backed us to win at Manchester City, people. Big up Cesc Fabregas. Who knows? You might manage the club one day. I think you lose this weekend, it doesn't have a big impact into the mind of the players, going forward into the season, because there's still many games to play. Now, you lose this game in March, that's a big deal. We might see a little difference in terms of the approach from the teams. It's always been a very 50-50 game, because they respect respect each other. They know all their weaknesses. They know their strengths. I think the game plan for both teams are so good that it makes it a very even game, and sometimes with not a lot of chances. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I don't know if Arsenal and City fans are. Listen, it's difficult for me to say what's on Mikel's head. I don't know if they'll do what they did last year. I don't know if you guys remember that we were debating here when they dropped into a low block and they were trying to get them on the counter. Sometimes they were not even pressing. They were just waiting for City to come and make a mistake. It nearly worked out, but we debated it here. Is it the right way? Is Arsenal doing the opposite of what they should have done in terms of what they've been doing the whole season? Listen, they didn't manage to win the league, and people say, oh, if they went on to win the game, those 2 points. That's true, but West Ham at home, Chelsea away, Spurs away, at home, sorry, Newcastle away, Aston Villa times 2. The same result happens against Manchester City and we win some of these games. Anfield, no one cares. But football's, what I've realized is the comments around football is very simple, if I'm honest. But Mikel is too smart for this. He knows exactly what he's doing. He has a game plan. Obviously, he always does. And the adaptability is important in terms of, can he be aggressive? Can he not? I think against City, he will not go full on to press. We ain't got all of our players available to do that. It will be similar somewhat to what we did against Spurs. That's only my opinion. Can they be a little more direct? Yes, because they have 2 really fast forwards, plus Kai Havertz, who is now in a very good moment. Hope you're right, Cess, man. I hope you're right, Cess. Liverpool and Arsenal are both interested in Girona pair Togankov and Miguel Gutierrez. Are we really going to sign another left back unless Tierney, Kivior, and even Tomiyasu going back to them rumours? I can't see that happening, but nonetheless, those are those links where that's concerned. Apparently, Sporting Lisbon are open to selling Gyökeres ahead of the January transfer window. I don't buy this. He scored in his first Champions League game. We are going to get to see him play against Arsenal later on in the Champions League campaign. This article has said, Gyökeres was disappointed not to secure a move to London during the summer transfer market. We understand that Sporting are open to selling the striker for substantially less than his 100 million release clause. This is despite Sporting president Federico Varandas recently expressing frustration over how players he considers weaker to Gyökeres are valued much higher than the Swede. A discussion between Gyökeres and Sporting has reportedly taken place with an agreement between the two parties that the club's full asking price will need to be met, whether in January or next summer. I don't think anybody expects us to sign him. Apparently, Zubamendi regrets rejecting Liverpool in the summer and has asked for them to try and sign him again in January. I mean, could that be something for us? We all know Arsenal were linked with him, people. I don't know where these reports have come from, but apparently Spanish outlet Deportivo claims he has told Liverpool to try and sign him. That said, it's worth applying a dose of skepticism. Deportivo cites the English media as a source, but the Spanish publication appears to be the originator of the story. So it could just be a bit of creative journalism, people. Something that could be a sticking point for Zubamendi. Could it be that he has not been offered an improved contract with his current one up in 2027? I don't know. I don't buy this. Arsenal, as well as Liverpool, Manchester United, Bayern Munich have all been interested. Sad story, really, completely off topic. Former Arsenal youngster J. Emmanuel Thomas, and he also played for Aberdeen and Ipswich, apparently has been charged over a 600,000 drug seizure, people. Apparently he's tried to pray. As you can see there, 60 kilos of cannabis was found in 2 suitcases that arrived from Bangkok last month, with 2 women also charged before being released on bail. Apparently, he's expected to appear in Carlisle Magistrates Court on Thursday, accused of importing Class B drugs. Damn. And he's still actually a footballer as well. I mean, boy, what is there to say? Apparently, Arsenal midfielder Thomas Partey is almost certain to leave at the end of the season. Team talk can reveal a replacement target on the Gunners shortlist. The Ghanaian international has entered the final 10 months of his contract at Arsenal and are unlikely to offer him an extension, meaning he'll be available in a free transfer next summer. We understand Turkish giants Galatasaray and Fenerbahce are keeping close tabs on Partey's situation, along with clubs from the Saudi Pro League. Fair enough, really and truly. Juventus are still looking at him. Arsenal eye Liverpool target to replace Partey. Apparently, Fofana was targeted by Arsenal over the summer, but his desire to join AC Milan saw us miss out. We had tentative interest allegedly in Rabiot. No one can really verify if they're talking truth here or not, people. Arsenal are admirers of Real Sociedad's Martin Zubamendi, who snubbed a move to Liverpool over the summer. So do you really believe any of this, people? Is there any other emerging news where Arsenal Football Club's concerned in the last hour? Let's go on news. Let's change that. Let's go to the last hour. We've gone over the Martin Odegaard stuff, and every time I look at that, I cry. Obviously, Real Madrid have been linked with Saliba, and it's you know, that's the holy grail of football, if I'm honest with you. So yeah, a bit of a slow news day. If you're on Twitch, don't forget to subscribe with Amazon Prime. That appears to be everything, people. So yeah, I'm gonna go off and edit some videos for you lot. One love for tuning in. Don't forget to join me at 7 p.m. to begin. I don't know what happened there, but peace. Always